Thanks for joining us for another edition of Performance TV, where we are going to be sealing it up the right way today. And that's why we have Danny here with us from Steel Rubber Products. Danny, just like the Chevelle that we have behind us, you guys have specific catalogs for all types of makes and models, and you could print one off for me personally for whatever make and model I have.
That's right. If you've got a Chevelle, we have catalogs for Chevelles, and we go year, make, model specific. If you have a 66 Chevelle, that's going to be different than our 72 Chevelle catalog. So we have all those things. It has all the parts that you need just for that car, nothing else. So you know exactly what you need to get, and you can use it like a project list.
Look at all these different profiles that you have, and these are just some of them.
That's right. We get a ton of questions about, no one makes this part, I need to make something work. Our universal catalog is a great tool. It shows you tons of profiles for glass and doors, your trunks and roof rails, all those pieces, as well as our peel and stick and push on line.
Yeah, because that's what I find. I mean, you're using the 3M back here, and we can just peel this off. So if we're doing something, and just stick that right on, simple as that.
It doesn't get much easier than that.
No, that's great. But what about if you've got to do a custom seal and you really want to make it come together nice and actually seal?
Yeah, so if you know exactly what seal you need, you want to make that joint where it comes together look real nice and clean, and there is a good way to do that. The way I recommend is with a razor blade, a brand new razor blade, nice and sharp, and if you're making a straight cut, just look right over it and just press down.
I mean, if you happen to have the special tool, it's great. But if you're just doing one of these on a rare occasion, like you said, a brand new razor.
Yeah, exactly. These clippers work great, but when rubber's a little bit squishy, you want something as sharp as possible. So now that we've got two ends that are going to be jointed together, what I like to do is put a straight edge in there. This is a 1/4 inch thick piece of metal. You can use wood. And what that does is it lines up the channel that your glass is going to be in, so you know that's going to be perfectly straight.
Absolutely. Now, do you recommend a specific adhesive for this?
Yes, 495 Loctite. We sell it. It is perfect for rubber to rubber.
I see you have a paper clip out. Is that a special tool?
It is a special tool recommended by Steel Rubber Products.
There you go.
For this application, you don't need much adhesive, so I just apply it with the paper clip just on that edge right there.
Once this goes together, is it something we need to wait 2 or 3 minutes on?
No, this is basically super glue made for rubber, so it holds very quickly and very strongly. There is a small molecular reaction that I don't know much about.
But you know it works.
Exactly.
You know it works, and once you put this together, if you need to go back in and touch it up a little bit, you're going to be able to do so.
That's right. And with this straight edge, you're able to keep it together all the way to where it touches.
Just like this. Look, let me tell you something. This piece of aluminum is not exactly the lightest piece, and check that out. So this isn't the only type of thing that Steel Rubber offers with the 3M backing on. What if I need to go around something like a 90 degree?
So for a 90 degree, what I like to do is they make these silver pins, which are great for rubber, and just mark a 90 degree angle.
Okay.
And it's going to be the same process with that razor. Just straight down through it. Just give it a solid pressure all the way down until it cuts through.
Even though it may not feel like it's going to right to start with, it's going through.
Absolutely.
So we do this, and this is going to have the same backing on it as we showed over here.
So now,
let's pull that apart.
You've got two straight edges that you can join together with that same adhesive, and it's a perfect 90 degree.
Wow. So if you need to make something unique, you have so many different universal pieces. I mean, it's just amazing how extensive your product line is at Steel Rubber Products.
Yeah, we have so many parts, and we're always able to help someone find out what they need. If you tell us what you're working on, we can send you a sample pack that's just for that part of the car.
Perfect.
If you're looking on your doors or a window channel, we have something just for you.
Find out more, just go to their website at steelrubber.com. We'll have more Performance TV right after this.
Henry Ford was known for perfecting the assembly line and making cars more affordable. But what was the first mass-produced car in the United States? You'll have to go all the way back to 1901 to Olds Motor Works. Ransom Eli Olds rolled out the curved Dash Olds. Only 425 were built, and they cost between $250 and $850. Performance TV, presented by Topcoat, is brought to you by RockAuto.com. All the parts your car will ever need. Borla, the world's most winning exhaust. NH Oil Undercoating, the official oil-based rust prevention system. Tribotex, make your engine last longer. And by Topcoat, don't just coat it, top coat it.
Welcome back to Performance TV. You know, the 1977 Pontiac Trans Am, driven by the Bandit and Smokey and the Bandit, is one of my favorite cars of all time. So you know, I was super excited when Bradley from 1245 Graphics brings a hood in here, and we're going to use the AP laser on it. We're going big today.
Yes, so AP laser actually allows you to do huge things because of the open architecture. As you can see, a lot of lasers would not allow you to put a 77 Trans Am hood and make it into Smokey and the Bandit theme.
Absolutely. The Screamin' Chicken, one of the coolest logos in all of automotive, all of motorsports, and we are lasering one into the hood. How did we set this up?
We have what we call a carriage cart, or basically a dolly, that we sit these large items on and just roll it underneath. We level the laser head to whatever we're lasering, and that's done by these four corners. And that allows you to do these odd objects. We have different sets of lenses, so you can actually adjust for curvature, just like we all know, hoods have curves. So you can adjust for that and compensate, and you don't have anything to worry about with the AP laser.
Now, we know the laser can do the job, and we're seeing it work, but it's not just the laser, it's the customer service and the community behind it. Talk a little bit about your company, 1245 Graphics.
So 1245 Graphics was born out of the basement of my house. We started very small, and we grew and grew and grew into what we are today. But what we always focus on is customer service. And we expect that from the companies we do business with, because machines aren't necessarily the cheapest in the world to be able to do quality. So we want that customer service, and AP Laser is able to give that to us. Technical support 24/7. You call them at midnight, and hey, you get somebody on the phone right then and there, and you can have your problem fixed and back at it. That was our biggest selling point for AP Laser.
Now we're at 12:45 a.m. Now you've got some other stuff that you did, some gas caps. I see one from our sister show, Motorhead Garage, a license plate holder. It allows you to really run wild with your imagination.
Yes, if you take a look at the gas caps, it doesn't matter if it's just bare aluminum, bare steel. You can still etch on that with a special substance. You can take paint off, you can powder coat and then etch away the powder coat. You can even layer different colors with masking and painting, and it's a process, but you can do amazing things with the AP laser that you might not be able to with others.
I love the idea that you can do something really big. I know you guys had the DeSoto project, you guys have done some hot rods, and you're very automotive with this.
All the way from valve covers, oil caps, gas caps, air covers. You can venture into many different markets, and if you want a side gig, AP Laser can provide you a little extra income on the back end.
And just like that,
Yep.
I'm excited.
Oh, I am as well. All right, 1, 2.
And there it is.
There we go. Now all we've got to do is clean it up a little bit, just like with anything. And there's a bunch of things we can do with this. A paint fill into those areas. Obviously, it needs to be cleaned up because it just had a laser run over it, so we need to clean it.
But the idea that you can just let your mind and imagination run wild in terms of creativity. We just did the hood of a car.
A hood of a car, and it's all thanks to the open architecture of AP Laser.
Now, this is something that we've seen, big products, small products, automotive, creativity, but in the end, though, the ability to have people at the other end of a phone line or a community of people who are doing what you're doing, that's got to put it over the top.
Oh, yeah, so you have a huge Facebook network of people who are always there for help, ideas to bounce off of each other to help your business grow, and you always have that technical support 24/7, and it all goes back to emotional marketing, which is just customizing something for someone. Now you've got a hood, you can do their valve covers, oil caps, air covers, everything just for that single person.
No, that's perfect. You can brand a whole car, something special, something unique. Bradley, you guys have done a great job here. 1245 Graphics, I love your specialty, I love what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I'll tell you what, if you love it too, you're going to want to hit the website, aplaser.com, and we've got more show to come as well. We'll be back with more Performance TV after this.
To be considered American-made, a car or truck must be assembled in the U.S., and at least half of its parts must be domestic. Today, 18 car makers can say they produce American-made cars. But it was a lot different 120 years ago. Back then, there were over 500 companies in the car business. Too bad most of them are gone. We'd love to work on Baby Moose Cycle Car here on Performance TV. Coming from Borla Commerce Park.
Welcome back to Performance TV presented by Top Coat. Now, I'm usually the host of Motorhead Garage, the sister show to Performance TV. So here's a little preview of what we do over on Motorhead.
Now, what if I told you you could have the classic elegance of a 62 Corvette with the drivability and engine performance of a modern car? Well, you can today, my friends. That's because of Billy from Corvette Corrections. Now, Billy, a name says it all. You've taken everything from a 62 Corvette that was great and you made it even better through a ton of corrections. And it all starts right here with the frame. Billy, let's walk through this frame from the back all the way to the front, man. Tell me how it starts in the rear.
We use all C4 components, front and rear. We use a carbon fiber monolith spring. I do cut the rear end housing to get the exhaust over the axles, and that allows us to make the rear end a lot more stiff, though we don't have any body deflection, and keeps the door joint separation out of the car by mounting the rear end solid in the frame, which has not been done by a lot of people, but it does work very well. We use the carbon fiber spring. We have a different rear steer on it to make the geometry work right. We used all the hard points that GM designed into the C4 Corvette. We put our frame around it. We furnished it with emergency brake cables and brake lines and hoses. We use a double H frame instead of an X frame because the X frame doesn't allow the exhaust to have free run. It's harder to get the exhaust to an X frame. We were able to drop our cross member because we don't have an X frame. We drop our cross member lower, drop our motor mounts lower in the car so that the CG is better and there's more tunnel clearance. There's more airflow between the tunnel and the engine and transmission. It really makes the car a lot cooler car to drive. We use the whole front GM suspension, just like they did in the original C4 Corvette. We use the whole front cradle. We set it up just like GM designed it, so you don't have any weird things happening, bump steer or things like that. The car handles and corners like a brand new car. Actually, I've had guys drive a C7 Corvette and they drive these cars and they feel like it's a better driving car than their car.
Now, that's the beauty of it, Billy. I mean, you went through it. I mean, the geometry, the vehicle, how it actually sits. Now, back to the rear for a second. I have my toe adjustments there so I can do everything I need to do. It's sitting right. It's going to ride right.
That's right. We've got the rear steer where you can do your toe adjustments. You can do your camber caster with the lower eccentrics that GM put into the deal. So, I mean, all I did was just use GM stuff and put it in my chassis.
And that's the beauty of it. I mean, I'm 50 years old. I want a classic car, but I want something to ride like a new car. That's what this is going to do. Now, shipped to me just like this?
Just like this. This is a Dana 44 rear end. We've offered Dana 44, Dana 36. If you're going to use a 6-speed transmission in a car, you probably want to put the 44 in because the gear ratio is correct. But if you're doing automatic, Dana 36 works fine. We can ship it just like this with a Dana 44, less the wheels and tires for $17,200 too.
And Billy, you guys also do other fiberglass and dash clusters. Tell me about that.
Well, the dash cluster is original piece of casting, but we have Classic Instruments build us a speedometer for that, and we machine the cluster to accept classic gauges. Now, we also use Dakota Digital, but if you want the full half-suite speedometer, we have to use a Classic.
And other makes and models?
We use a 53 to 62 Corvette, 63 to 7 Corvette. We do Tri-5 Chevrolets, and we do pickup trucks, 47 to 72 Chevy.
Well, the beauty in it's in the ride, so we're going to take it on a test drive. Well, Billy, this thing rides great. The drivability's phenomenal, and the performance is out of this world, man. You guys hit a home run with this one.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. That's what we were aiming for, is really get a good driving old car.
Yep, I'm 50 years old, man. I want one. It's a classic car, rides like new. If you want one, check them out on the website at CorvetteCorrections.com.
Time now for the lowdown with Magic Creeper.
You know, we talk about being able to use the Magic Creeper to move your heavy cargo. Well, what about your precious cargo?
Absolutely. Precious. I like it. Did you hear that? I heard it for the very first time.
That's just the one and only time. But the nice thing about the Magic Creeper, we've shown it in the back of pickup trucks and stuff like that. But, you know, when you've got a big SUV like this and you've got some heavy items that you want to move around or pull out,
That's exactly right. You don't want to injure yourself. We're just trying to illustrate exactly how easy it is to move 170 pounds just like that. And let me tell you, you got a wheel, you got a tire, you got a toolbox, you got an engine block, you got cylinder heads, something like that for the car-going type of person, or who knows what it might be. Magic Creeper can help you move it. Plus, you can get under your car, you get the extra couple of inches of ground clearance, you can move over gravel. There's just so many great ways to use this excellent item.
And I like the fact if I was going to be putting, stuff back in here because I like to keep my vehicle clean, that I can set it on this, move it around. It's also protecting my vehicle. And if the Magic Creeper does happen to get dirty, it cleans up very easily. It's also puncture resistant, which is pretty nice.
We have tortured these things and it holds up every single time. Now they also offer a roadside kit with safety extras in there. Look how nice it is. You keep it rolled up. You don't store it flat. You keep it rolled up.
That's right.
In your vehicle, and that way it's ready whenever you need it. The Magic Creeper, and be sure to get the authentic Magic Creeper.
That's right. You need to go to their website. You can only find the Magic Creeper, but the bag separately and the kit by going to their website at magiccreeper.com. Bye, Joe.
This has been great.
Bye, Joe. Bye, Joe. We'll have more Performance TV right after this.
There's a rainbow of paint colors available for cars. But in the U.S., 73% of all cars are painted one of 4 colors. Can you name them? Gray is the 4th most popular. Silver is 3rd at 16%. 19% of all cars sold in the U.S. are black. And white tops the list at the most popular paint color in the country. Stay tuned for more Performance TV. Performance TV, presented by Top Coat, is brought to you by Stage 8 Fasteners, home of the world's best locking header bolt. Locking kits now available for all turbo applications. Go to stage8.com. Socket Straps, keep your tools within reach. Mobile Environmental Solutions, the leading portable mobile paint booth. Better Covers, the better truck bed cover. And by Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever.
Welcome back to Performance TV, presented by Top Coat. Now, you've seen one clip from our sister show, Motorhead Garage. Here's another trip down memory lane.
Well, if our classic Chevy pickup truck looks familiar to you, that's because we used it in a prior episode to put a wire harness in. And we got up under the dash here and we realized our gauges, well, they don't look good, they're not bright, and some of them don't even work. I got an idea. I know exactly where we can turn. Dave, help us out.
Well, I don't know if I have all the answers, John, but I know Steve from Brothers Trucks does. If you're doing a restoration or just making a couple tweaks to your truck, you guys are the place to turn.
Yeah, so today I brought a bunch of instrument cluster parts, and I just want to kind of give everyone an idea of what's available. If you're dealing with a stock dash or you're going all the way with like a super custom dash, we basically have everything, and it sometimes gets confusing, so I just want to bring everything in, kind of show it off. Starting over here with your stock replacement parts. Let's say you're just trying to drive your truck, but your fuel gauge doesn't work, your oil pressure gauge stopped working. We have those replacement parts. If you're doing a restoration, also those are helpful because you can replace individual parts as needed. There's also some gauges here that we carry, like this vacuum gauge, which wasn't super common. You wouldn't find that in anything but maybe like your 1 ton, 1.5 ton trucks. But if a guy wants to put a vacuum gauge inside of a 1/2 ton or a 3/4 ton truck, we have those options as well. And that's kind of cool because most of the trucks came with a dead hole in the dash there.
Not even a clock.
No, not even a clock, which actually now we have a clock. You couldn't even get a clock back in those days, but in these 67 to 72 trucks, we actually have a reproduction clock that looks like a factory one, fills that dead hole and makes good of that space. And we have gauges for everything, 47 all the way to 87 replacement gauges. And we actually just recently came out with some gauges because back in the day they were kind of dumb gauges, low on one end and high on the other. And so we've made factory looking gauges now that instead of having low and high, they have your actual oil pressure, so 0 to 60, or say your temp gauge 100 to 240 or something like that. So those are kind of cool.
And I love that because it's subtle.
Yeah.
It's the original look, but
right, but you get a little more intelligence from your gauges that way. And then as we're moving down here, these are some lenses that we make that help you do some of these conversions that we offer. So if you're converting to, say, a tachometer and you just had a dead hole here, here's your tachometer letters on here. If you have a tach and you wanted to add one of our vacuum gauges I mentioned before, there's a lens for that.
outstanding. And then let's look down here. You're doing a tach conversion?
Yeah, so most trucks didn't come with a tach, but we make a factory tach. And you can take a stock gauge set in your 67 to 72, your 63 to 66, or your 73 at 87 square body stuff like this truck behind us, and you can add a tack into one of those vehicles, and it looks like it came from the factory like that. And most of them are super easy plug and play, like this wiring harness here. It's basically 3 wires. One goes to the back of the tack, one goes to power, and that plugs right into your fuse block, and then one goes right to your distributor. And so these are super easy. That's how the factory did it. And we offer the housings that are pre-punched so you can see the tack, which is important, and also the back housing, which allows you to mount the tack. So those are super simple stuff to upgrade.
Oh, you talked about upgrades. Well, this one's super simple. I love this one. This is plug and play, right? This is an entire dash assembly.
Right, so this one looks like jewelry. I mean, when you look at it, it is shiny, the gauges are perfect, everything's awesome. Obviously, this one's got our new clock conversion in it, but this one also is featuring our 8,000 RPM tack, which wasn't a factory thing. The factory tacks in these trucks only went to 5,000, but clearly guys are building LS engines and building hot rod, performance engines that need a tack that goes higher. And if you're trying to stay with a stock look, but you need those RPM, then this is the dash. And like I said, it looks like jewelry. And when you get it in front of you, it's even better.
And we touched briefly on the fact that this used to be a dead hole.
Right.
So what kind of options can you have there?
I mentioned the vacuum, and then you've got your clock here. And then in some of the other trucks, there's other options, that you could go with as well, depending on what you're working with. And the other cool thing is we have a bunch of other gauges. This is like for your factory dash stuff, but we also have digital gauges that look like analog gauges that are plug and play. They work with your guys that have LS swaps and stuff like that. So that's actually kind of cool too, because they just plug in and everything works.
Although you can go for hours through the catalog and through the website to find all kinds of options for 40 years worth of Chevy and GM trucks. Check them out at brotherstrucks.com. Well, that is going to do it for this episode of Performance TV. Of course, we'll be back again next week. And if you can't wait that long, be sure to check out our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. If you have a product or an idea you want to see on Performance TV, be sure to email Jeff at masterstv.com. And guess what? Our sister show, Motorhead Garage, presented by Top Coat, debuts for the season, so be sure to check it out. We'll see you next week on Performance TV, presented by Top Coat.